Okay. Happy Thursday. So, I was thinking, like actually today when I was sitting, I was thinking about this. This came up again, and I have noticed that pretty much since I started sitting, which was in 1996, I had this feeling of like, I'm a fraud at this. Like, I'm not doing it for real. Like, I know there's a version of this that is the real thing, but it's not the thing that I'm doing. Right? Like, I would sit and I would, I'd be waiting for something to happen. And like, some years went by, and now it's like, say, 2001, 2002. So now I've been sitting for like 4 to 6 years, which at the time felt like, wow, I've been sitting, 6 years. Like, I've been sitting so long. And still, it felt like there's something missing. And it's almost shame, right? Like, I don't want anyone to catch on to the fact that, like, I am just sitting here on the cushion faking it, and that I don't really have whatever this is, right? And then, like, you go down the road and you take Jukai, and then you become a apprentice teacher, and you receive monastic ordination, and then you get priest ordination, and you become a Zen teacher. And still, even today, like, I sat down and this little thought can drift by. It's like, you're a fraud. You're not really a true Zen teacher, right? You teach Zen in a garage. Real Zen teachers teach Zen in a, mountaintop monastery. But it's not even about that. It's just like a sense of the inward, like, there's something that hasn't happened, the happening of which would mean that now I am the real thing. And what I recognize at some point is that the reason we feel that way is because the self is a fraud. Like, the idea that there's a version of me that is the right version, that will complete all of this and make it right and liberate me, is in fact untrue. The self cannot take the journey of enlightenment, right? Because we're already there, right? That is our Buddha nature. Our true nature is that we are awake, we're enlightened. We carry within us the undifferentiated, pure Buddha nature. And the self is along for the ride. And it is desperately seeking what is the thing that's going to complete me? What is the thing that's going to make it okay? What is the strategy that's going to cause me to become the right version? And so then we take up meditation and we're like, well, maybe this tactic will cause me to become that thing. And of course, that means comparisons, right? So now you're looking around the Zendo, and like, even when I lived in Colorado in the Great Mountain Zen Center, I'm looking around at more advanced students and at my teachers, and they clearly have it and I clearly don't. Well, no, they have it and I have it. And they're probably sitting there, I don't know this, but they're probably sitting there having the same feelings, that the self is not complete. And so, if this path isn't about perfecting a self, right? If we're already perfect, then what's it about? Like, what's the point? And one thing I've been thinking a lot about lately is the idea of stewardship, right? That the job is to take care of it. And so we are already enlightened. We carry enlightenment through the world. And so then it becomes our responsibility as people who are following the way to steward that, and to take good care of it, to take good care of each other, and to take good care of ourselves. And how do we do that? Well, that's what the precepts are, right? So we honor the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, right? The enlightened nature, the teachings, and the community. What is that going to give us? Well, that's going to give us a safe space to practice with all of the things that come up that are the self, and work through them, and be like rocks in a river grinding together so the rough edges wear off, and allow our natural nature to emerge and to shine through. If we keep going, right, practice good, refrain from evil, practice good, do good for others. Well, what does that do? Well, if we refrain from evil, we care not only for everyone else, but we care for ourselves. Me yelling at you is like me drinking poison and expecting you to get sick. So being a steward of our awakening means that as we move through the world, right, do not be angry, do not elevate the self and criticize others, honor the body, do not misuse sex, do not steal, do not lie. Like, these are core values across multiple traditions, but the way they're different in this tradition is that when we follow those precepts, we protect our access to our original face. We protect our access to who we really are. And you can't, the thing I'm pointing at, you can't fully explain. But I know that if we don't follow the precepts, right, if I do speak of others' errors and faults, and I do use my anger, and I do misuse sexuality, and I do steal, and I do behave in dishonest ways, what happens? Well, we can look, and we see people walking through the world with all of those behaviors, and their awakened nature is buried deep, and it does not naturally shine through. And the tendency is to think, oh my God, they're horrible. They're not horrible, they're just buried. And so that's something that I think is worth appreciating, right? Is that the reason we sit is to steward our awakening, right? To sit in the presence of our awakened nature, to sit with who we really are, and to not allow the self to be in the driver's seat for a period of time, so that we can continue to take care of ourselves, and then we can take care of each other. I think that's profound, because a lot of folks, my experience is a lot of folks are walking around feeling like they don't have it yet. And I'm like, you don't. You're right. You don't have it yet. And you won't ever have it. You can't have it. You already have it. You're not going to achieve it. There's nothing to achieve. It's kind of like marriage, There's a really cool saying about marriage, which is that stop trying to work on the problem with each other and start working together on the problem you're facing. Right? It's like, marriage is not about making the other person the version of themselves that you want them to be, right? And them doing that to you, and then arguing, right? Well, now we have a problem with each other, and now we're gonna solve that problem. It's like, no, turn toward the problems in your life and solve them as a team. And then it brings you closer together, but also it goes toward the real issues. Now, of course, sometimes the problem is that you're not getting along in some way, and that's okay. But even then, right, then turn toward that together and work on it. So, because there's no final ultimate solution to the problem of having a self other than getting the self into the passenger seat. And then allowing, and so if you're in a relationship with anyone, a coworker, a partner, a friend, a parent, you're never going to modify their self to be the version that helps you. But what you can do is fall into the absolute, fall into that undifferentiated Buddha nature, and make enough space to allow them to be exactly what they are. And then apply the precepts in real time, and be of benefit and service as best you can, draw boundaries as best you can, step away, step toward, do what's appropriate, right? Oryoki, just the right amount. So, the bad news is we're all frauds. The good news is that's not who we really are. I think that's probably enough.